This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, the Tigers come oh so close from another miraculous comeback, but the comeback bid falls just short, and the Yankees avoid the sweep. Tigers wrap up the homestand 5-1. They take 2 of 3, but can't finish off the 3-game sweep. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma, right on the screen there if you're watching on YouTube, which is my reminder to thank you for watching on YouTube. And don't forget, today's show free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Coming up on today's show, boy, Jack Flaherty was really good. You could even say he shoves. And the 9th inning rally, we'll talk about that. Some of the struggles this team had defensively, Colt Keith and Dylan Dingler, we'll get into that. And of course, I'll have my Talking About segment, Turning Point, and Player of the Game. And we'll look ahead at the weekend series against the Minnesota Twins. So buckle up, come along. Should be a fun post-game show, despite the Tigers falling just a bit short. But hey, a good homestand, and we will discuss it all next. Now, that being said, don't forget to check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. Always enjoy catching that program as well. And all of our Locked On Detroit programs, Locked On Lions, Locked On Red Wings, Locked On Pistons, Locked On Wolverines, and wherever you get your podcasts, you can find them there. Now, as always, feel free to get in the comments. Let me know what you took away from today's game. We'll mix those in as we go. And let me know what you thought of some of the specifics. The defense that failed at times, especially there in the 9th inning, the top half of the 9th inning, what you thought of Jack Flaherty, and what your biggest takeaway is. Because make no mistake about it, through what felt like the majority of, and it was through 8 innings, there was very, very little offense. I'm sorry, through 7 innings. The Yankees come through in the 7th there. The Tigers didn't get the bats going until the 9th inning. But my goodness, Max Fried, shut down this Tigers lineup. 7 innings, scoreless. He struck out 5. And it was really a classic pitcher's duel through 6 innings of work. That being said, Jack Flaherty, also really good. You got to really appreciate the way his velocity was up, because that was a big, big talking point. And I don't know if it was too early to call it a concern, but certainly you look at his velocity from the beginning portion of the season and the improvements that he made in that category this afternoon, that was very, very encouraging. He was attacking the zone, 14 first pitch strikes, and had the good command, and obviously keeping hitters off balance with those 9 strikeouts. So first 6 innings, it was the definition of a classic pitcher's duel. Now, Tyler Holton comes in. He makes that great play to get the runner ahead of him at third there in the 6th inning before giving up the 2-run homer in the 7th inning to Ben Rice. Now, that's going to happen. And again, in a game where there was just runs were so hard to come by, bummer to see that from Tyler Holton, especially for how good he's been and how good he was leading up to that. But what we have to talk about is the defense. Colt Keith looks lost. Absolutely lost. He's got the yips fielding a ground ball. And I hope, if people are superstitious about me using that term, I understand, but let's call it what it is. The guy cannot be out at second base. He is a liability there. We need Gleyber Torres back, and that really costs the Detroit Tigers today. And it wouldn't have been an inning-ending double play, but you give a lineup like the Yankees as many outs as the Tigers did, and those add-on runs are so pivotal. Because look what this gritty team did in the home half of the 9th inning. They're going to make you play all 27 outs. They're going to be resilient. They're going to be gritty. Everything we love about this team is still true. It was on full display once again, but the hole was too large to climb out of because of the self-inflicted wounds, Colt Keith and Dylan Dingler. Now, those plays for Dylan Dingler, really tough. I was a really, really below average catcher in high school, so I should know. But that being said, you're looking up in the air and the ball's coming back with all the spin and foul territory. I get it. He would tell you he should have made should have made those catches. And then, like I said, with Colt Keith, can't field a ground ball. That is a problem when you are an infielder on a big league team. But we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Before we get into the comments, let's go ahead and have our talking point segment.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Unfortunately, my phone blew up the most, and I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best way to dictate and determine what the talking points are for a Locked On Tigers postcast. But Colt Keith makes those errors, and I'm hearing from everybody. I mean, get this guy out of there. It is a concerning state of affairs for the second baseman for the Detroit Tigers, Colt Keith, right now. And you know, whether you think this team can overcome it or not and just weather the storm, take on water until Gleyber Torres gets back to play second base, something has to be done. And it might be recency bias, but talk to a couple people, my brother included, that were ready to ship Colt Keith on, or you know, just there's got to be a better option, because you just can't have a guy that can't field a ground ball at second base. So I'll be talking about that, but of course I'll also be talking about Jack Flaherty. And again, is it a one-game sample size? No, because we've seen it time and time again from Colt Keith in the early portion of the 2025 campaign. But let's get to some of these comments. And again, I said it in the open, so I can check the box that I said it. A 5-1 homestand, 7 out of their last 9. The Tigers are playing good baseball. And, you know, you get a much-deserved off day tomorrow. You go to Minnesota, a divisional opponent, and you get to continue to beat up on the AL Central, and that should be the focus. And again, you don't want to brush off a loss, especially when there are things to address like there were this afternoon. But at the same time, I'm not hitting the panic button quite yet. Braylon Dennis, I agree with your comment. Can't put it on the screen though. A little too much profanity there, but I'll summarize. Keith and Dingler need to get it together. Completely agree. Thomas saying Colt Keith sucks. Yeah, and listen, we all want Colt Keith to succeed, and we all know what he can do and the asset that he can be for this team. He was a huge asset, especially down the stretch last year. And it's just a matter of finding the most impactful and beneficial way to incorporate him into the lineup. All right, 22 Tantrum says not too shabby for half the roster being on the IL. Yeah, you're not wrong with that. I do sometimes think about that. On our MLB show on Locked On MLB Game Night, we were discussing how the Tigers are off to a very good start despite missing some key pieces. And that's certainly a takeaway nationally surrounding this Detroit Tigers team. Demetrius McNeil is up next, says Sunday the Tigers used their magic to beat the White Sox. Today, I thought the Magic would beat the Yankees in the 9th. At least they win another series, but Max Fried was way too good. Demetrius has an uncanny ability to summarize everything it takes me about 20 minutes to say in one comment, because that's exactly it. It was this team showed resiliency, they showed heart, they showed I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm watching the Dylan Dingler failed foul ball catches. First, he had the glove up, and I'm sorry, I'm a little ADHD going on. It's a thing. But then the second one, he tries to go basket, and no bueno on either of them. So it's just you can't. What pains me is all we heard all off season was how important defense is and how that's going to be the identity of this team. It was last year, and look, last year they really were a very solid team defensively, and that was part of the makeup of the team that made them go on that run, or that helped them go on that run. And I just don't see it this year, which is so far. Again, it's early. We all have to throw that out. We know that. But that being said, and I hear the comment here, Javi Baez _ El Mago. Thanks for joining the program, El Mago. Fresh off of a clubhouse appearance, which is crazy because I could see him on the. No, I like we have a good time, but yeah, Gleyber's not much better. Which again kind of feeds into exactly what I'm saying is we were billed to believe that this team defensively would be so good, but they're missing their really good players defensively. Not having Parker Meadows, not having Matt Vierling, and so on and so forth. That all of a sudden now the defense feels like a liability again for this team. And certainly today, it showed it reared its ugly head. But lots more to get into. Tigers fall to the New York Yankees. 3 runs in the 9th. Zach McKinstry with the clutch 2-run single that inning, which, by the way, real quick, just anybody watching that game that is a purist of the, not even a purist of the game, just how dumb can the Yankees be to try to get that runner at home? That means nothing. That run means nothing. Meanwhile, you let the tying run get all the way up to second base. Now, it doesn't cost them, but I was watching that like, what are we doing? If I'm a Yankees fan, I would be absolutely distraught that is happening on a big league level team. But don't go anywhere. We're going to continue breaking this one down. Hey, it's a live reaction show. You never know where it's going to go on Locked On Tigers Postcast, and we are here for it. Appreciate everybody tuning in. When we come back, we'll have our turning point and our player of the game. We'll also look ahead to that Minnesota series. And that's all coming up next on a live Locked On Tigers Postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving, this is crazy, each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're cracked with fiber and better for you than unsaturated fats, or better for you unsaturated fats. Of course, better for you than saturated fats. That's how you would want to say that. Work on that, Jake, to help keep you feeling and better. There you go. So I love the pistachios. It's great while you're watching games. In fact, when you watch every single inning of every single game, you got to have a go-to snack, and the no shells variety, it's great. Just grab and go, have it with you on the road. I've got it in my car. I've got it at my office, busy days. So whether you're snacking at your desk, you're on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always a good go-to. If you love cracking open every shell for a satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic feature. I kind of like those during the game, kind of like peanuts. You're opening it up, absolutely delicious. So whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. Get snacking, my friends, and get cracking. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money puts you in control, because we've all had that time where you check your bank account and you wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you the full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just your run-of-the-mill budgeting app like every other app out there. It's a complete financial command center that you can track all your accounts with, even your investment accounts, and all of your spending down in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. I love the surprising insights. When you start using Monarch, you can realize just how much you are spending on food and delivery. If you're a guy like me, probably too much. It's an all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDON at monarchmoney.com. Locked On MLB is your promo code at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Wow, 50% off. How about that, sports fans? That's monarchmoney.com. Code Locked On MLB for half of your first year. All right, Tigers lose to the Yankees, take 2 of 3 after sweeping the White Sox, which brings the record at Comerica Park to begin the season at 5-1. Very nice 5 out of 6 homestand, make it 7 out of 9 overall after the sweep against the Dodgers to begin the season, or being swept by the Dodgers to begin the season is probably a better way to say that. Let's get into it. It's our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
couple of twofolds here that kind of some layers to this. We'll say layers, like an onion. There's some layers here. Obviously, Max Fried shutting down the Tigers is a turning point, and that's where the game started to go, where you felt like, okay, can we muster any runs here? But really, the add-on runs in that ninth inning, because of the Tigers' inability to get outs, and they really let Brebbia down in that ninth inning with the errors that were made, and the errors by Dingler and by Colt Keith. And again, you just tough plays, but man, it just would have really helped. And you get Aaron Judge up there with the bases loaded, and he's going to come through, and he just absolutely whistled that ball. But it should have never gotten to that point. The add-on runs obviously come back to bite the Tigers, because this team's going to make you play all 27 outs, and they do, scoring 3 runs. So that's my turning point, a major bummer. Time now for our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I got to unfortunately give it to Max Fried. 7 innings, 5 hits, did not allow a single run, 0 earned runs, 11 strikeouts. I mean, he was mowing down the Motor City Cats. 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. He looked every bit a dominant force out there on the bump. And that combination with the Yankees lineup, hey, this is not a team that's going to get swept by many other teams. So I hate to give them credit, but credit where credit is due. All right. Time for a few more comments to wrap it up and clean it up before we get out before an off day tomorrow. How about that? So I will not see you guys on Thursday, but obviously, as always, you got to check in with Scott Bentley on Locked On Tigers, because he's taking that deep dive and providing all the analysis and breaking everything down, while I'm providing your post-game reaction. Look at that combination. You got to love it. R1VJ4 says Keith has to hands down get it done. Torque is impossible for Keith to beat out there too. So many drops, minor drops from Dingler, and the minors too. Practice, imprint that S. Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. And AJ Hinch kind of touched on it post game and said he's looking a little flat footed. And some of that, it can be coached, but other parts of it, you just got to go out and play with confidence. And it's tough, because I mentioned the yips thing earlier, especially when a player like Colt Keith is so young in his career. He's locked up for the long contract. I pray that this is not who he is, and it's just a bad funk. This is a good comment here. I meant to bring this up from Adam Kucharski. I apologize. I probably butchered that, but hey, I appreciate this comment, because I'm with you. I hate the pitch com. Yeah, the pitch com caused a delay in that ninth inning as well. And again, it just got everybody out of sync any way you slice it. And when that happens, it can be difficult for a pitcher to get back into rhythm. So that was tough as well to witness, because, and AJ Hinch kind of, I wouldn't say went off on it post game, but definitely voiced his displeasure with that as well. All right, that's going to do it for me. And one more comment here. Colt Keith needs to be sent down. And Roscoe Pico adds to that. Keep Spencer Torkelson at first base. Keep Justin Henry Malloy as your designated hitter. Send Colt Keith down. Then trade him at the All-Star break. I don't know if all that's going to happen, but appreciate you voicing your thoughts on the Locked On Tigers postcast. So, up next, an off day tomorrow, then 3 with Minnesota. Reminder, Friday's game is on Apple TV, so you won't have it on the FanDuel. So no Jason Benetti or Andy Dirks or Dan Petrie, whoever it is, which is kind of a bummer Friday night, but I'll be tuned in to Apple TV. Looking forward to that. Reese Olson will go on Friday. Then you got Jackson Jobe on Saturday. An earlier game on Saturday, 2:00 in the afternoon with the Central Time Zone there. And then on Sunday, Casey Mize will go. I'm back. I think we lost a little bit of an internet signal there. Spectrum is going to hear from me. Look out. That's what I'm doing right now. Can't have that. I just apologize. But there you go. All right. Tigers lose to the New York Yankees. Major bummer. 4-3 the final. Detroit now 7-5. The Yankees are 7-5. The Tigers now will head out to Minnesota after an off day tomorrow, and then 3 with the Minnesota Twins over the weekend at Target Field. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Check out Locked On Tigers. Make sure you like and subscribe. Send the postgame video to a friend and join us next time after the Tigers take on the Twins Friday night. We'll talk to you then. And until then, maybe check out Locked On Pistons postcast on the Locked On Sports Detroit page. All kinds of options. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Tigers go 5-1 on the homestand, take 2 of 3 from the New York Yankees, but unable to get that sweep done today as the Yankees win. See you next time.